The Great Bible, 1 Chronicles, the 28th chapter. Because David was forbidden to build the temple, he exhorteth Solomon and the people to perform it. The 28th chapter. And David gathered together all the lords of Israel, the lords of the tribes, the lords of the companies that ministered to the king by course, the captains over the thousands and over the hundreds, and the lords that had the oversight over all the substance and possession of David, his sons, with the chamberlains, and all the mighty and valiant and all active men, unto Jerusalem. And King David stood up upon his feet, and said, Hear me, my brethren and my people. I had in mine heart to build an house of rest for the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and for the footstool of our God, and had made ready for the building. But God said unto me, Thou shalt not build an house for my name, because thou hast been a man of war, and hast shed blood. Moreover, the Lord God of Israel chose me before all the house of my father, to be king over Israel forever. For in Judah would he choose a captain, and of the household of Judah is the house of my father. And among the sons of my father he had a lust to me, to make me king over all Israel. And of all my sons, for the Lord hath given me many sons, he hath chosen Solomon my son, to sit upon the seat of the kingdom of the Lord in Israel. And he said unto me, Solomon thy son, he shall build me an house, and courts. I have chosen him to be my son, and I will be his father. I will establish his kingdom forever, if he will be strong to do my commandments and my laws, as it goeth this day. Now therefore, in the sight of all Israel, the congregation of the Lord, and in the audience of our God, keep and seek for all the commandments of the Lord thy God, the Lord your God, that ye may enjoy a good land, and leave inheritance for your children after you forever. And thou, Solomon, my son, know thou that God of thy father, and serve him with a pure heart, and with a sweet courage. For the Lord searcheth all hearts, and understandeth all the imaginations of thoughts. And if thou seek him, he will be found of thee. But if thou forsake him, he will cast thee off forever. Take heed now, for the Lord hath chosen thee, to build him an house of a sanctuary. Be strong, therefore, and play the man. And David gave Solomon his son the pattern of the porch of the temple also, and of the houses that longed thereto, of the storehouses, upper chambers, inner parlors, and of the house of the mercy seat, and the example of all that he had in his mind for the courts of the house of the Lord, and for all the cells round about, for the treasures of the house of God, and for the treasures of the dedicated things, and for the divisions of the priests and Levites that waited by course, and for all the workmanship that should serve for the house of the Lord, and for all the vessels that should serve in the house of the Lord, for gold and for the weight of gold, for all vessels of sundry ministrations, for all manner of vessels of silver in weight, and for all vessels whatsoever purpose they served unto, the weight of gold for the candlesticks, and the gold for their lamps, with the weight for every candlestick, and for the lamps thereof, and for the candlesticks of silver by weight, both for the candlestick and also for her lamps, according to the diversity of the use of every candlestick. And by weight he gave gold for the tables of showbread, even for every table, and likewise silver for the tables of silver, and gold for flesh hooks, cups, and drinking pots, and pure gold in weight for basins, even for every basin, and likewise silver by weight for every basin of silver, and for the altar of incense, pure gold by weight, and gold for the pattern of the chariot of the cherubs that stretched out their wings, and covered the ark of the covenant of the Lord. All, said David, was given me by writing of the hand of the Lord, which made me understand all the workmanship of the pattern. And David said to Solomon his son, Be strong, and do manfully. Fear not, nor be faint-hearted. For the Lord God, even my God, is with thee, and he shall not fail thee, nor forsake thee, until thou hast finished all the work that must serve for the house of the Lord. Behold, the priests and Levites are divided in companies for all manner of service that pertaineth to the house of God. They are with thee for all manner of workmanship, and so are all that excel in wisdom for any manner of service. Thou hast also the lords and all the people for everything that thou hast need of. The 29th chapter. The offerings of David and of the princes for the building of the temple. David dieth, and Solomon his son reigneth in his stead. The 29th chapter. And David the king said unto all the congregation, God hath specially chosen Solomon my son, which is yet young and tender. And the work is great, for the house shall not be for man, but for the Lord God. Moreover, I have prepared with all my might for the house of God, gold for vessels of gold, silver for them of silver, brass for things of brass, iron for things of iron, and wood for things of wood, and onyx stones, and stones to be set, glistering stones, and of diverse color, and all manner of precious stones, and marble stones in great abundance. And because I have lust to the house of my God, I have of mine own proper good, of gold and silver, which I have severally given to the house of my God, beside all that I have prepared for the holy house. Even 3,000 talents of gold of Ophir, and 7,000 talents of tried silver, to overlay the walls of the houses withal. The gold for things of gold, silver for them of silver, and for all manner of work by the hands of artificers. And whosoever is willing, may this day consecrate his hand unto the Lord. And so the ancient fathers and the lords of the tribes of Israel, the captains of thousands and hundreds, with the lords that were rulers over the king's work, were willing and gave for the service of the house of God 5,000 talents of gold, and 10,000 pieces of gold, and 10,000 talents of silver, and 18,000 talents of brass, and 100,000 talents of iron. And they with whom precious stones were found gave them to the treasure of the house of the Lord by the hand of Jehiel the Gershonite. And the people rejoiced when they were so willing to give their goods, and with a perfect heart they offered unto the Lord. And David the king rejoiced with great gladness. And David blessed the Lord before all the congregation, and said, Blessed be thou, Lord God of Israel, our Father, from ever and forever. Thine, O Lord, is greatness and power, glory, victory, and praise, for all that is in heaven and in earth is thine, and thine is the kingdom, O Lord, and thou excellent above all, even as the head of all. And riches and honor come of thee, and thou reignest over all, and in thine hand is power and strength, and in thine hand it is to make great, and to give strength unto all. And now, our God, we thank thee, and praise thy glorious name. But who am I, and what is my people, that we should enforce ourselves to give these things so willingly? But all things come of thee, and of that which we received of thine hand we have given thee. For we be but strangers before thee, and sojourners, as were all our fathers. Our days on the earth also are but as a shadow, and there is none abiding. O Lord our God, all this stuff that we have prepared to build thee an house for thy holy name cometh of thine hands, and is all thine. I wot also, my God, that thou triest the hearts, and hast pleasure in unfeignedness. And in the unfeignedness of mine heart I have willingly offered all these things. And now have I seen thy people which are found here, to offer unto thee willingly and with gladness. O Lord God of Abraham, Isaac, and of Israel, our fathers, keep this forever as the beginning of the thoughts of the heart of thy people, and prepare their hearts unto thee. And give unto Solomon my son a perfect heart, to keep thy commandments, thy testimonies, and thy statutes, and to do all, and to build the house for the which I have made provision for. And David said to all the congregation, Now bless the Lord your God. And all the congregation blessed the Lord God of their fathers, and bowed down their heads, and worshipped the Lord and the king. And they offered offerings unto the Lord. And on the morrow after the said day, they offered burnt offerings unto the Lord, even 1,000 young oxen, 1,000 rams, and 1,000 sheep, with their drink offerings. Many sacrifices offered they for all Israel, and did eat and drink before the Lord the same day with great gladness. And they made Solomon the son of David king the second time, and anointed him prince before the Lord, and Zadok to be the high priest. And Solomon sat on the seat of the Lord, and was king instead of David his father, and prospered, and all they of Israel obeyed him, and all the lords and men of power, and all the sons of King David submitted themselves, and were under King Solomon. And the Lord magnified Solomon in dignity in the sight of all them of Israel, and gave him so glorious a kingdom as no king had before him in Israel. And so David the son of Isaiah reigned over all Israel. And the space that he reigned over Israel was 40 years. 7 years reigned he in Hebron, and 33 years reigned he in Jerusalem. And he died in a good age, full of days, riches, and honor. And Solomon his son reigned in his stead. The acts of David the king, first and last, behold, they are written in the book of Samuel the seer, and in the book of Nathan the prophet, and the book of Gad the seer, with all his kingdom and power and times, that went over him, and over all Israel, and over all the kingdoms of the earth. The end of the first book of the Chronicles, otherwise called the first book of Paralipomenon. The second book of the Chronicles, which in the Hebrew is one with the first. The first chapter. The offering of Solomon in the hill altar of Gibeon, where he receiveth an answer of God, what wisdom should be given him, with the number of his chariots and horsemen. The first chapter. And Solomon the son of David waxed strong in his kingdom, and the Lord his God was with him, and magnified him in the dignity. And Solomon spake unto all Israel, to the captains over thousands, and to the captains over hundreds, to the judges, and to every officer in all Israel, and to the ancient fathers. And so Solomon and all the congregation with him went to the high place that was at Gibeon, for there was the tabernacle of the witness of God, which Moses the servant of the Lord made in the wilderness. But the ark of God had David brought from Kiriath Jearim into the place which David had prepared therefor, for he had pitched a tent for it at Jerusalem. Moreover, the brazen altar that Bezaleel the son of Uri, the son of Hur, had made, was there before the tabernacle of the Lord. And Solomon and the congregation went to visit it. And Solomon gat up there before the Lord to the brazen altar that was before the tabernacle of witness, and offered 1,000 burnt sacrifices upon it. And the same night did God appear unto Solomon, and said unto him, Ask what I shall give thee. And Solomon said unto God, Thou hast showed great mercy unto David my father, and hast made me to reign in his stead. Now therefore, O Lord God, let thy promise which thou madest unto David my father be true. For thou hast made me king over a people, which is like the dust of the earth in multitude. Wherefore, give me now wisdom and knowledge, that I may be able to go out and in before this people. For who else worthily can judge this people that is so great? And God said to Solomon, Because this was in thine heart, and because thou hast not asked treasure, and riches, and honor, and the lives of thine enemies, neither yet long life, but hast asked wisdom and knowledge for thyself, to judge my people, over which I have made thee king. Wisdom and knowledge is granted unto thee, and I will give thee treasure, and riches, and glory, so that among the kings that have been before thee, or after thee, none was or shall be like thee. And so Solomon came from the hill altar that was at Gibeon to Jerusalem from the tabernacle of witness, and reigned over Israel. And Solomon gathered chariots and horsemen, and he had 1,400 chariots, and 12,000 horsemen, whom he bestowed in the chariot cities, and with the king at Jerusalem. And the king made silver and gold at Jerusalem, as plenteous as stones, and cedar trees made he as plenty as the mulberry trees that grow in the valleys. And the horses which Solomon had were brought him out of Egypt by the king's merchants that were together, which being of one company took them out at a price. They came also and brought out of Egypt a chariot for 600 pieces of silver, even an horse for 150. And so brought they horses for all the kings of the Hittites, and for the kings of Syria by their own hand. The second chapter. Solomon sendeth to Hiram the king of Tyre for wood and workmen. The second chapter. And Solomon determined to build an house for the name of the Lord, and an house for his kingdom. And Solomon told out 70,000 men to bear burdens, and 80,000 men to hew stones in the mountain, and 3,600 to oversee them. And Solomon sent to Hiram the king of Tyre, saying, As thou didst deal with David my father, and didst send him cedar wood to build him an house to dwell in, even so deal with me. For I am about to build an house for the name of the Lord my God, to offer unto him holy things, and to burn sweet incense, and to set showbread before him continually, to offer burnt sacrifices of the morning and evening, on the Sabbath days, in the first day of every new moon, and in the solemn feasts of the Lord our God, for it is an ordinance to be continually kept of Israel. And the house which I build shall be great, for great is our God above all gods. But who is able to build him an house, when that heaven, and heaven above all heavens, is not able to receive him? What am I then, that I should build him an house? Nay, but even to burn sacrifice before him shall this building be. Send me thou therefore a cunning man, that can work in gold and silver, in brass and iron, in purple, crimson, and yellow silk, and that can skill to grave, with the cunning men that are with me in Judah and Jerusalem, whom David my father did prepare. Send me also cedar trees, pine trees, and algum trees out of Lebanon, for I wot that thy servants can skill to hew timber in Lebanon. And behold, my men shall be with thine, that they may prepare me timber enough. For the house which I am determined to build shall be wonderful great. And behold, for the use of thy servants, the cutters and hewers of timber, I have given 20,000 quarters of beaten wheat, and 20,000 quarters of barley, and 20,000 baits of wine, and 20,000 baits of oil. And Hiram, king of Tyre, answered in writing, which he sent to Solomon, Because the Lord hath loved his people, therefore hath he made thee king over them. And Hiram said moreover, Blessed be the Lord God of Israel, which made heaven and earth, and that hath given David the king a wise son, and one that hath discretion, prudence, and understanding, to build an house for the Lord, and a palace for himself. And now I have sent a wise man, and a man of understanding, whom my father Huram did use, the son of a woman of the daughters of Dan, and his father was a man of Tyre, and he can skill to work in gold and silver, in brass and iron, in stone and timber, in purple and yellow silk, in fine white and crimson, and can grave sundry manner of gravings, and to find out divers manners of subtle work that shall be set before him, with thy cunning men, and with the cunning men of my lord David thy father. Now therefore the wheat and barley, oil and wine, which my lord hath spoken of, let him send unto his servants, and we will cut wood in Lebanon, as much as thou shalt need, and will bring it to thee in ships by sea to Joppa, from whence thou mayest carry them to Jerusalem. And Solomon numbered all the strangers that were in the land of Israel, after the number of them whom his father David had numbered. And they were found 153,600. And he set 70,000 of them to bear burdens, and 80,000 to hew stones in the mountain, and 3,600 officers to set the people a work.